is up, college football fans and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? Still a little disgusted today, I'm not going to lie. Yesterday's game, hard one to swallow. The Oklahoma loss, I slept on it that night, got up the next day feeling pretty good. I was like, you know what, Oklahoma is a top 5 ranked team. We were at their place. We lost by 3 points. I can take that. This one, no. Complete opposite of that. We played a team that I felt like we were better than from a talent perspective, and just absolutely showed up not ready to play. No offense to Texas Tech. Their fans have been extremely nice, extremely respectful people, but man, we should have won that. West Virginia should have won that game. And the way they lost it, basically just not showing up in the first half almost is just it's very I don't really have a word for it, man. It's hard to swallow. There was not one phase of the game, in my opinion, that they played well in the first half. The defense wasn't as good as they have been. The defensive line did some things in the first half, but not like what they have been. They didn't look like the same defensive line that had been playing the first 4 weeks. The linebackers and the DBs couldn't get off blocks to make tackles. Guys were getting 10, 15 yards down the field before they even got to them. There was a lot of receivers open in the first half for Texas Tech that are not usually open. I felt like our DBs, I don't know if it was the game plan that they were playing too far off. I don't know if they just weren't covering well. I don't know what it was, but they just did not look the same. Offensively, Jarrett Dagey didn't look very good. He was holding on to the ball too long, in my opinion. Couldn't get the running game going. Only had one decent drive in the entire first half. That was with Garrett Green in the game. We had it 3rd and 1, driving down the field, and then another darn false start penalty pushed us back. And then we ended up having to punt. Just one thing after the other. Just continuous mistakes at the wrong times. That's not getting fixed. Had to fumble. That didn't get fixed. Another fumble. I think that makes 12 or 13 on the year now. We lost this one. Hadn't been losing that many of them, but we lost this one. Just did not have the same energy level as Texas. Honestly, it felt like West Virginia let the Oklahoma game beat them 2 times. That's what happened. It felt like their heart was still, they were still reeling from that Oklahoma loss, and it took them a half against Texas Tech before they got it out of their system, and by then, they were in just too big of a hole to dig out of. At halftime, I made my halftime reaction video saying, hey, I'm off the Dagey bandwagon, put Green in the rest of the half, let's go. Well, they didn't put Green in, but hold on, behold, Jarrett Dagey comes out second half and plays arguably the best half of football he's played since he's put on a Mountaineer uniform. He was throwing beautiful deep passes. He was finding open receivers. He was still hold on to the ball probably a touch longer than I'd like him to. Instead of throwing receivers open, it seems like Dagey has a tendency to wait till they get open and then throw them the football. I wish he would have the clock in his head needs to be a little bit faster, in my opinion, and I just don't think it's there yet. But he was making accurate throws, for the most part. He really made one bad throw, and that was the one in the end zone to Bryce Ford Wheaton that would have basically won the game for West Virginia. Would have put West Virginia up in the second half. There again, didn't make a lot of bad throws, but made it at the worst possible time when they most needed it. Just there again, mistakes at critical times. Once again, haunted the Mountaineers. And then the defense played really well the second half until that last couple drives. And they just couldn't hold Texas Tech. The defense plays really good up until the crunch time, and then they seem to give up too many yards on final drives. I'll be honest, one thing I was really frustrated about during this game, I felt like the offensive staff was struggling to get play calls in to the quarterback. It happened multiple times. I know of at least one time, maybe twice, that it cost West Virginia a timeout. And that timeout was needed at the end of the game, and they weren't able to run the clock out because they didn't have it. Extremely frustrating, man. It shouldn't take 15 seconds to get a play call into your quarterback. And I don't know what was going on, if there was communication issues. Something was going on. They just could not get the play into the quarterback. One time they tried to bring Green in the game. Dagey was driving down the field first half, or maybe an early second half. They tried to bring Green in. It didn't work. The clock was running out. It was just a fiasco. And I don't know what was happening. And then, another issue I've got. Why in the world, at the end of the game, Winston Wright, one of the best kick returners in the nation, has an opportunity with still several seconds left on the clock. I don't remember the exact time left. To get West Virginia, if not run it back for a touchdown, at least put them in decent field position. He takes a knee on the 9-yard line, for crying out loud. Why? With no timeouts. That just made absolutely no sense to me. Your most explosive player on the team kneels down. I don't know if that was a coach's call or his call, but that was a terrible decision in my book. Run the football. Run it back, or at least get up to the 30 or 40-yard line where your offense has at least a shot to get it in the end zone in 2 plays. I mean, you can't even run a Hail Mary that far. It just made no sense. And there at the end of the last drive for Texas Tech, when they made that, the quarterback made basically a Hail Mary pass down the field that their receiver was able to make a play on. It was almost luck. Not luck on the receiver's part. The receiver made a great play on the ball, but luck for Texas Tech and that quarterback for Columbia. Should never have happened. But anyway, after that happened, obviously they were in field goal range from then. West Virginia should have just tried to let them score. Let Texas Tech score so you got more time on the clock to work with. Don't just let them. You just let them burn clock. It didn't make sense. The clock management in this game made absolutely zero sense to me. I mean, listen, I know the coaches aren't executing the plays on the field, but the clock management to me was just. I just didn't understand it, man. There was a lot of things done in this game, and I'm still a Neil Brown guy. I'm still trusting the climb, but man, they're slipping backwards a little bit now. The climb is getting steeper. He's got a top recruiting class coming in next year. He needs at least 4. I think a coach needs at least 4 years to rebuild a program, and he's only on year 3. But man, how aggravating was that loss? Absolutely should never have happened. And Texas Tech, I mean, if we can't beat Texas Tech, how in the world are we going to beat Kansas State and Baylor and Oklahoma State and Texas and Iowa State? How? I just don't. I mean, it's just. It just may. I'm just so frustrated. I mean, 24 hours later, I am so frustrated over this loss. It's going to be a really hard one to get over. I got over the Oklahoma loss in 24 hours. Cool. This one, and for Texas Tech to beat West Virginia 3 years in a row. No offense to Texas Tech, but it ain't like Texas Tech has been the class of the conference. I mean, it's Texas Tech, man. Texas Tech has been finishing below West Virginia in the conference standings, and we can't beat them. It just makes no sense. I don't get it. They're not that much better than us, if at all, from a talent perspective. I don't know what else to say, guys. Listen, I went on kind of a rant, but that's all. Only way I know how to do on these reaction videos, these review videos. I had to get it out of my system. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this video out, but I've had a very busy weekend. I went to the game yesterday, got home late, had some family stuff today, and then I come home to a sewage leak at my house. So, but I wanted to throw this video out there as soon as possible. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please smash that like button. Until next time.